Hey, brothers and sisters. So this video, I wanted to take a clip of Rebecca Walzer, a financial expert and lawyer, regarding the transition from traditional to digital currency. Why is this important? Well, this is important because this is one step closer to the system talked about in Revelation 13. Now, we know Revelation 13 is the beast system under the Antichrist that happens during the 7 year tribulation. So, how is this relevant to the church? Well, that means that the rapture comes first. So, keep your eyes and ears open and listen to these clips.
It's two parts. So what has to happen first? We're already in beta testing with FedNow with the digital dollar, which is really what the currency is. It's a digital dollar, just as you said. MasterCard is already in beta testing along with some 12 other commercial banks. They're in a 12-week pilot test right now so that the functionality is tested and ready to go for 2023. It is coming, Brandon, but it is two parts. The first part, and you'll start to see this is already happening in Australia as we speak, is you will not be able to log into the internet. You'll have to agree to a digital ID. So that's the first step into FedNow or any kind of central bank digital currency. Because think about it, how will they be able to know who you are to transact this business without some kind of verified digital ID? So if we look at the G20 meeting that happened in November last month, you saw that the G20 agreed in principle and basically came out of the conference stating as much that they would agree to a global digital passport. This is the beginning of the digital ID. In Australia right now, they are implementing the digital ID that basically you cannot log into your computer into any social media without the digital ID. So the step one will be the complete loss of all autonomy technologically, meaning you will not be able to log into anything without a form of government approved digital verification. That's the first step. Once we have digital ID, then the CBDC is a go. It's ready to be implemented, and it is ready to bring. It's really totalitarianism. You can call it communism, whatever you want to call it. But when you control the money supply, you control the people.
So you're saying that it'll start with having to be registered to even get on the internet.
That's correct.
So there's going to
It's
be a
already
landing
happening in
page.
Australia.
A landing page comes up, run by what would here be the federal government, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is all very coming to fruition. So we're speculating some. I mean, I'm a lawyer, so I make sure that I distinguish between facts and speculation and opinions. But yes, the G20 leaders agreeing in principle to all participate in a interconnected network that will talk to each other, digital passports, is the beginning of government digital IDs. It will happen in individual countries. That will then allow us to do the central bank digital currency. And of course, their ultimate goal, as we all know, if you ever have read the book of Revelations, you know that eventually there will be one world government and one system. But
Absolutely.
that's not now.
Yeah, Revelation 13. Yeah, I agree with you. The mark of the beast is not in play now, but the stage, the technology, the conditioning is all being put into place. Revelation 13 makes it very clear you won't be able to buy or sell unless you have a mark. It's a cashless system. The president of the European Bank came to America and gave a speech April 26, 2010. I've been talking about it since then. So 12 years now, I've been talking about his speech. And he had one section in his speech under global governance and how global governance would evolve. And anyone can find his speech. In fact, I think I might even have a screenshot of it from earlier in the week where I talked about it. But in that speech, he openly stated that what was going to be driving the whole process was going to be the Bank for International Settlements. The Bank for International Settlements would be the one driving it. What's so fascinating about that is he said the Bank for International Settlements will be at the center with their global economy meetings or their GEM meetings will be at the center for global governance, the Bank for International Settlements. Well, as you know, the BIS is the central bank of central bankers. So you have the Central Bank of Nigeria with saying, now, look, we're going to go to this. You're only going to be able to take out $45 a day because they want to run on the bank until this is all done. They're doing this now in the UK. They're announcing it here in the US. And every time we hear about it being taken seriously, it's a central bank doing it, which means everything's going to be tied right back to the central bank of central bankers. It'll be a global system. Once that global system is in place, as you said a while ago, That's how you control the people. Once they can control the money, then they can go to world government. They really can't go to world government by their own
Right.
writings until they have the global economic system put into place. Can you
Yes,
comment
that's
on that?
100% right. You're 100% right. And, just to comment on Nigeria for a second, Nigerians actually are pretty advanced on the blockchain cryptocurrency side. They're very receptive, and at least a third of their entire population has some sort of interaction with the blockchain, whether it be crypto or something else. But their central bank digital currency from the government of Nigeria was really not taken up at all. Less than 10% of the population was even applying or trying for it. So they are finagling. In other words, they're forcing you by basically going to all the banks and saying you will not be able to get out more than 45, the equivalent of 45 US dollars. So whatever their local currency is, it's different. It's like 112 something a day, but it's 45 US dollars. And so this, you can see, Brennan, how they're going to leverage their control of commercial banking, third party banking, to basically force people off the system. Once you move to a central bank digital currency, there's no intermediaries. I mean, I can't believe the commercial banks aren't up in arms. Of course, they're not, because they're being promised, oh, you're going to be able to do this and you're still going to have to do loans and all these things. But the entire banking world, as we know it, is coming to an end, because we have third party banking systems that are intermediaries between us and the Federal Reserve, between any central bank and your money. And that will be going away. Forget about having to send a 1099 in for a transaction where you're spending $600 or more. The Federal Reserve doesn't need you to do anything, because all of the records are there. They have all the records. Now, the Federal Reserve, most people do not understand in this country that it is a private corporation that was chartered in 1913. They believe that the Federal Reserve is some kind of government entity. It is not. It is a private corporation chartered in 1913, ironically, or not ironically, I'm being sarcastic, the same year that we actually got an income tax. So this was all sort of planned together, if you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
And we have been moving slowly away from our ability to have privacy and control, and moving towards, this ultimate system of control. And what people don't understand, and this is where you get into a system, it's kind of like the best analogy I can give you, and I know it's so overused, so I apologize in advance, but it's really the pot of frogs, that are in there, that they feel like, oh, it's a nice warm temperature, and your body keeps acclimating to the markers being moved. So you think, oh, this is really convenient. Of course, they sell everything as convenience, just like they've tried to sell 5G to us being about faster speed, when it really truly is about sound frequency and what they can do to control and manipulate the human body with sound frequency, among other things. So it's always the positive benefits, which are so minute. We do not need faster payment systems. We have Cash App, we have Venmo, we have all kinds of systems that are so fast that, maybe perhaps internationally, other than an international wire, and certainly you have to use the SWIFT system. So if you're talking about the BRICS nations, this is a different subject. But what I'm trying to say is they always come to you with, oh, it's going to be private, and it's going to be fast, and it's going to be secure. And all of that is, subterfuge for what they're really trying to do, which is to force you to always say who you are and be verified with your digital ID. Of course, we are already seeing that the credit agencies in America, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, have already said that they agree to start carbon footprint individual tracking on your credit score. This is just exactly the Chinese playbook 101. And if we don't wake up and realize that the pot is starting to boil, it's going to be too late.